What's going on, guys? We are on part 4 of this Neil Peart 2015 Sirius XM Deep Cuts, Deep Tracks, whatever it's called, interview. This is a donation request video for Seth. It's been really cool so far. If you're new here, please subscribe, check out my videos, all kinds of videos, reaction videos, bass videos, music videos, check it out. If you like the channel, you want to support the channel, you can hit super thanks underneath this video. You can hit me direct in the description. I got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Amazon wishlist, mailing address, and I do donation request videos just like this one. So if there's something you want me to listen to watch, to talk about a question, anything, hit me direct, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and in the notes section, leave a description, leave a link. Let me know what you want the video to be on, and I'll make the video. Also, you can email me at jpanreadsemail@gmail.com. That's also in the description. All right, let's get to part 4. Bam.
Last question from Dom here. What was your reaction when you got the call that Rush was being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Okay.
Well, I've been at pains before in writing about that, and it's easier when you're sitting in front of a keyboard with words that I can wrestle around to get the right answer. But it is a conflicting thing because you're not supposed to feel too good about yourself, right? And before that, also because we had been denied so long, we had to poo-poo it and say, in fact, in my acceptance speech on the night, I said, for years we've been saying this is no big deal. It turns out it kind of is. So had to kind of readjust our attitude towards it because it was being presented to us with such sincerity, you know. And that night, our audience in that building that night they ruled the place. So that was part of what inspired my comments.
I'm sorry, I was in the audience that night. They more than ruled it. That was it for them. I mean, every time anyone would even get the first syllable of Canada out of their mouth, the audience would erupt.
Yeah. So, with other awards and all that, you can't take them too seriously, and yet you have to take them seriously. So that's the inner debate that has to go on in a case like that. Of course, I appreciate this. I'm honored by it, and I always said, okay, we'll keep trying to live up to this. That's the best way to do it. If you get a Hall of Fame award or a Lifetime Achievement Award, well, our lifetimes aren't over yet. Our careers aren't over, so we have to keep trying to live up to that faith that people put in you, right? When people invest you that way, they put faith in you. So you got to live up to that.
Well, that's fantastic. It's fantastic. Let me take you back to the book for a minute.
Yeah, please.
If I can. And I love the commentary in your book, Far and Near, about the church signs that you saw while driving through the Bible Belt. This was very...
Yeah.
Give us a couple of your favorites, if you can remember them.
Well, there are so many. Well, there's one that I actually do like because some of them are simply moronic and some of them are just preaching in fire and brimstone, you're going to hell and all that. But the one I do love that has a certain tongue-in-cheek wisdom is, if you want to make God laugh, tell them your plans.
Yes, yes.
So there are lots of them, and it's funny. It's not something I think about when I'm in Canada. It's not something I think about in California or in Europe. But when I travel in those places where it's being rammed down your throat, I have to go, oh, wait a minute, no. You know, this is so wrong, and it riles me up. And I mentioned before that anger and outrage can sometimes be an inspiration, and it gets me writing about it. And people will say, you know, why are you a faith basher? And I said, well, I don't feel like a faith basher, and it's not something I've thought about all day. It's something that my life has been full without any of that aspect. I don't really understand it or understand why it's needed, and it's a kind of brainwashing in almost all cases where poor children have been brought up and formed into these molds, right? That you are suddenly, this ism is after your name from the time you're born. They don't choose it, and for whatever reasons they never do question it, where I did from the beginning. When I went to Sunday school as a little kid, and when I would, they'd tell us to sing the song God watches each sparrow fall and all that. And I said, well, no, I don't really think so. And when you look at the world now, I saw the comic and the great writer Stephen Fry the other day talking about that. He said, how can you, and they said, what if you went to heaven to meet God? He said, oh, that wouldn't be a pleasant meeting. You say, why did you create those parasites that grow behind babies' eyes and, destroy their vision on the way out and all that? That's not any kind of a God to be worshiping, is it?
Plus, I think that if there is an omnipresent being that is that smart, he's going to be looking at your heart, not what you put in the collection plate.
And I always say that too. If I'm going to go up and meet St. Peter and Jesus and God and Allah and Buddha, whichever one you want to pick, I'm going to be okay, because I have lived a life based on that, and I believe in generosity and charity and kindness and courtesy. Those are just things that seem good to me anyway. I don't need a threat to make me behave that way, and I don't need a reward. It's always the carrot and the stick in that aspect of, oh, never mind how lousy this life is because you're going to go to heaven. Well, no, that doesn't work too well. Or you better behave or you're going to hell. Those are the only two sides that religion really gives you, and I just don't find them necessary. So I get curious and go, why do other people need this invisible friend? That's one of the nicest definitions of my invisible friend can beat up your invisible friend.
Didn't you refer to God as the Christian sky god in your book?
Yeah, another way, if you go back to the pagan religions. And again, I'm open to all that. I'm not a cynic. And when I travel in Africa, I'm very interested in their pantheism and how they ascribe spirituality to everything around them. The religions are a search. They're not an end.
There you go.
And I admire that spiritual search. I don't feel in need of it, but if it's innocent and doesn't harm children, then it's okay.
Because, and this is this line, Clockwork Angels, which reminded me of the story in Genesis about do not eat from the tree of knowledge. What?
Yeah.
Why do you not want me to eat from the tree of knowledge?
That quote from lean not upon your own understanding. It's like, what? Wait a minute. Well, so I shouldn't think. And of course, that is the necessary doctrine that you're hit with. And again, I don't think about these things because they don't matter. And in most of the world, they actually don't. You can go to the pockets of extremism in the Middle East and the Middle South, and they're going to be rammed down your throat, and they're dangerous in that context. They're like a tinderbox of fire that can be lit into this strange kind of murderous faith. Like, we can murder these people because God said.
Yes. I always think that if there is a God, these assholes go up there and meet him, he's going to say, man, you really misread the book.
I said,
you
are you
really
serious?
Didn't get it,
Really?
And I do like that line you're about to quote, lean not upon your own understanding. Ignorance is well and truly blessed.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Just do what you're told, right?
Yeah. Neil Peart, my guest tonight on Deep Track. My guest tonight, Neil Peart, drummer and lyricist of Rush. Let me stick with with religion here for just a moment.
If you insist.
I know this is not getting you in any trouble with anybody. Was there ever a time in your life when you did believe? And if so, what changed your mind? Was it an event, or was it like a process?
Good question. And in fact, no, there was never a time when I believed. And as a child going to Sunday school, it was a questioning. It's like, really? The omnipresent being and the beneficent sky god confused me at the time. And once I was old enough, I always remember that as a teenager in my bedroom at home, I got spray cans and sprayed graffiti on there, and I took the Nietzsche God is dead. And my parents, not being particularly religious, but they had, oh my God, your grandmother will die if she sees that. So I spray painted it to be God isn't dead. It didn't matter to me, and it made peace, etc. But no, there never was a time that I did. I was always curious, though, and I was always open to it. And as I got into adult life, I would learn about different religions and philosophies and say, well, is there anything here for me? And sometimes there was that I could adopt. And in terms of beliefs, reincarnation never appealed to me or seemed possible or likely. But other attitudes did seem just perfectly right. And I always said the moral compass in our song Faithless, where I've got my own moral compass and I've got my own spirit level. I do have a sense, always had a sense of right and wrong, and had a little judge on my shoulder, as they say about the Puritans, telling me what was right and wrong, and reproaching me if it was bad. I once compared it to in the old Disney cartoons, they would have Pluto would have, or Goofy would have the good Goofy and the bad Goofy on his shoulder, right? And that is a morality thing. We all have the good goofy and the bad goofy on our shoulders. And they always meant something to me. And I felt good if I did something nice, and I felt bad if I did something, crappy. And those still sustain me now. I have a sense of that, and a sense of outrage too, that people who are visibly mentally ill are still judged as if they were able-bodied people. And out on this coast, of course, we have a lot of homeless people here, and I always contribute to them willingly. And here's a beautiful illustration of a moment, and I'll hand them a note, and they say, "Oh, God bless you." I say, "Oh, no, God's got nothing to do with this. This is between you and me." And they go, "Oh yeah." And then I had one guy I saw a second time, and he started to say, "God bless you." He said, "No, wait, I remember. This is between you and me, right?" I like that. And I said, "I like it too."
Very cool.
Okay. It's an interesting part. It's lots of religion talk that I mostly don't want to get into because it's kind of like politics. Right? So, I mean, that's interesting. Everybody has their ideas and nobody knows shit, right? That's why you don't talk about them. That's why you don't talk about religion or politics, because everybody's got their ideas, but nobody knows shit, right? You just think you know shit, right? So, I don't really have too much to say about any of this. I thought that maybe there was something at the beginning, but then it was mostly just religion kind of talk. The stuff about, I mean, I grew up going to Catholic school. I'm not, but I don't know. You can't, you can't, it still sounds like a lot of judging to me. And I'm just like, you can't like, maybe you're saying things with broad strokes and you just kind of generalizing, but it's, I don't know. It's just a tough and the wrong conversation to have. I'm just an idiot musician, so I'll leave it at I'll leave it at that. All right, guys. We got 2 more parts, and hopefully it gets a little bit lighter. I mean, like at least just no religion and politics. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next video.